Hey YouTube, how is everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone is doing well. I just felt like checking in real quick and kind of to start out on somewhat of a random note. I have started to I don't know, it's not funny. It's not funny, but I'm starting to, I can't even just spit it out. I'm teaching myself how to speed read, and it's actually I've only just started, but it's pretty beneficial. I've also started doing it to where if you are doing a training, you're taking a course or some type of training, I used to always think that this is totally different for me. I always used to think that I needed to put it on the slowest, not slower, but on the normal speed. I never thought that I was the type of person that could have it at 1.75 or 2 times the original speed. I always thought, no, it takes me a minute to comprehend it. I need, sometimes I need to stop it and redo it, write it down. I always thought of myself as slower, but I've kind of challenged myself and, sorry, I'm biting my teeth. I have started to challenge myself, and I have not only been speed reading things, but I have also been listening to things on a quicker time frame, and I pick it up better. I pick it up so much better, and it kind of makes me think back to when I was a kid. Okay, it's a little story. When I was a kid, I played t-ball or baseball, on a little league team or whatever you call it as a kid, and a lot of people would think that they're like, oh, he's not good, he needs I don't think they would say that, but they would probably think that they'd probably think, oh, he's one of the kids, he doesn't know what he's doing, which is kind of true, actually. So go slow with him. If you need to throw him the ball, go it slow. But then one thing that my dad actually learned from watching me is he's when you try to throw it slower for him, he doesn't hit it as well. But when you throw it fast, throw it fast, he's you hit it, he hits it, talking about me. And I feel I remember that growing up, and I'm just kind of now connecting the dots that it's when you try, speaking for me, when you try to slow down and just go so slow, I still don't comprehend as much as when I just do it fast, almost too fast. I say that, but then I have been in meetings before where information was just going clear over my head, and I'm I have no clue what just, you know what I mean? So I do have that or whatnot. But anyway, it's kind of cool because I think what it boils down to is your brain is smarter than what you give it credit for. No, but anyway, as much as I'm talking about speed reading and listening to things really quick, I feel I'm taking forever to tell this, but yeah, it helps me a lot more, and I comprehend a lot more when I'm going faster than when I try to go slow. And I think what the thing is, I don't know how to explain it. Almost going slow is taking so much energy out, and when you go fast, see, the other thing I have to say about going fast, when I go fast, I consciously or unconsciously allow myself to not get everything perfect. When I go slow, I try to get every detail, every line in order, and I try to get it perfect. But when I go fast, I think, Sam, you're just trying to get it done. Just go fast, just get it done. I let go of that, having to comprehend every single line, because even if I try to go slow, I still don't comprehend every single line. You ever read a paragraph, you read it 25 times, you still don't know what you read. But when you go fast, you allow yourself to see the big picture and get things in summary, which I'm if I remember things, I'm not going to remember things line from line. I'm going to remember the summary or the gist of it. And so I think that has something to do with it. So that's kind of helped out as well. A few other things I wanted to talk about. This is going to be seemingly random. I feel this needs a whole video in of itself, but I wanted to talk about people who are confident, but not necessarily right. One thing that I realized, the older I've gotten, the more that I've experienced and the more that I've gone through life, I see how different people interact in different scenarios. And lately, maybe over the past handful of 7 years or so, I've kind of slowed down, and I've sort of purposely analyzed, not in I don't know, I've like analyzed it. I haven't been like laser focused, but I'm just like, okay, let's think about why this is like that. Don't just say, oh, that's just this. Just like think about like what is actually going on here. Don't try to make it any better or any worse. And one thing that I've realized is people who are self-confident, like they're confident in themselves and they have a strong opinion, they are more likely to be listened to, even if they're wrong on whatever they're talking about, even if their analysis is, see, this is the thing, so much of what we say is just our opinion. I mean, even what I'm saying right now it's my opinion, you know, it's not necessarily scientific fact. I could even argue sometimes I feel like what's scientific or whatnot turns, you know, like that could be wrong, you know, this is proven then that's disproven. I guess there are some things that are, anyway. But it's like we run on, this is the other thing that I realize, is we run so much based off of other people's opinions. And I don't mean that in a way, oh, well, Johnny likes the blue and Susie likes the pink, so what do we do? Not like that, but you take, someone says something and they say it bold and you take it as fact. You know, if a doctor says something, you know, doctors have the authority, right? They went to school, they, you know, our brain assumes they know what they're talking about, especially if they're guiding us in something that maybe we're not familiar with at all. If they have what seems to be a good degree of familiarity in the topic, then the natural conclusion in our brain is, oh, well, I'll listen to the doctor, I'll listen to the professional. All just, you know, my opinion. Anyway, just whatever. This is all my opinion, all just my thoughts. So, but then it comes to realize that doctors don't know everything either. Like, doctors don't know everything either. One thing that you thought might have been right 10 years ago, maybe now you're coming and realize, wait, that's actually not the way it is at all. That's not the way it should be. Like, they're not going back. Like, things come out, but yet based on what someone's strong opinion is, you tie your thought process to that strong opinion. And part of that is because as humans, we have to make these decisions. We have to make these snap decisions. And most of our decision making comes from our unconscious mind, okay? It's, you can consciously do something or whatnot, but most of what we do and most of what we think, it's driven by our unconscious. And our unconscious is automatic. Our unconscious is automatic. You do it without thinking. This one girl who I used to work with, who was and still, I'm sure she still is, very smart, just like really smart. Like, you know how you look at some people and you look at them, you're like, they're just intelligent. Like, if you need a second opinion, you know, you would maybe seek their opinion for a second opinion. This one girl who I used to work with, who I would label as like very smart, very intelligent. Sometimes she would say things and she would say these like just really smart, bold, just really intelligent sounding things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was really like, and I might even go up to her afterwards and be like, wow, I thought you really did a good job at explaining that. Or I thought that was a really good, you know, you put that really well. I would say something like that. And she would kind of like laugh at herself and she would be like, yeah, I totally blacked out. I don't even know what I said. I just blacked out. And I thought, my gosh, like that to me, but then you put two and two together. It's because she's allowing, I don't know, this is like probably diving too deep into it, but actually this probably is true. She was allowing her subconscious mind, which again, our subconscious mind, kind of going back to the whole speed reading things, our brain and our minds pick up more than we allow. And I oftentimes in my life try to do things consciously when I should be allowing my subconscious mind to take more of a lead role than what I allow it to do. And one of the reasons, if not the reason for that, is because when I was a kid, long story short, which I think this happens to everyone in varying degrees, but I'm kind of, I don't know, I don't want to sound like too special or whatever, but I'm looking at my upbringing, my childhood. You know, be the therapist on the couch, tell me about your childhood. I'm looking at my childhood, I'm looking at certain aspects of when I was a kid and just certain experiences I had during those formative years. And oftentimes as a kid, I would say, or I would do, or I would act without filtering my actions through my conscious mind. Because when you're a kid, you're the most pure. You know, you're not trying to seek other people's approval. You know, you don't hate yourself when you're a kid. You learn all that as the older you get, as you go through life experiences. And I'm thinking back to when I was a kid and I was operating on more of just that pure, and I'll call it unconscious mindset, that doing things just without thinking, oh, does this make me look weird? Is this wrong? Is this bad? Am I, like, is this, you just do what comes naturally to you. I would get, for lack of better ways to say it, I would get taught that that was bad, that was wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, you're, like, that's not, anyway, I'm probably going on too much about it, more than I really want to, but I would do things, and basically it sent me the message, it's so clear now, it sent me the message that, Sam, it is not safe for you to trust your unconscious mind. Because when you do something without thinking, when you say something without thinking, you say something stupid. You say something that is, I was going to say offensive, but nowadays everyone gets offended by everything. So when everyone gets offended by everything, honestly, it makes me want to be offensive. Like, it makes me want to say something just out of spite. Like, if someone's offended, I don't really take it. I don't take it that seriously anymore, because I think people are just too, generally speaking, people are just too easily offended. But back growing up, if it's someone who you liked and you respected, and they, they felt a certain way, you would think, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? And anyway, I had, I guess, enough of those messages for me as a kid growing up to where I learned, whether it was right or wrong, that going on autopilot or doing things that felt natural to me, or just, speaking what's on my mind, we'll just say, or whatever, was not safe. Okay. And I'm speaking in very dramatic terms to kind of make a point, but honestly, this is kind of how our brain, especially as in our childhood mind, this is how our brains work and develop and whatnot. But I learned that it is not safe to operate without filtering it through what to be, oh, this is good behavior, this is acceptable behavior, this is an okay thing to say. And I would have a lot of doubt in my mind growing up. Like, I was often very quiet as a kid. I was very reserved. I thought a lot. I had a lot of thoughts, but I didn't vocalize those thoughts because I didn't believe in my child mind, in my childhood heart or whatever, I didn't believe that I was intelligent enough, or not, I mean, the intelligence, yeah, but I didn't believe that I was, this is not the best way to, this is probably not the best explanation, and this sounds way more dramatic than I mean it to sound, but I did not believe that I was good enough to have my own thought. So I kind of learned to rely on other people for me. Like, if I were to say something and I'd be like, in my mind, I might be thinking, this is like a kid. Okay. I'm sure probably into adulthood too, but I'm talking more as a kid. I would say, oh gosh, was that okay? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I sound okay? Was that right to say? Like, I remember just times as a kid, I would constantly rely on other people's validations when I said something and I wasn't sure about it. Even if I was sure about it, I probably wasn't sure, because even if I didn't know how to be sure at the time. And since becoming an adult, I have learned to overcome that. I have developed my own sense of self and whatnot. And I do sometimes I will seek the advice or the opinion of someone else. It doesn't mean I'll necessarily take it if I disagree with it, but there are times where I'm just honestly like, gosh, I don't know, what should I do? Sometimes I'll flip a coin, because I'll be like, well, I don't know, and I'm the one who's most familiar with it, so if I don't know, Nancy Drew over there doesn't know, why am I asking her? You know what I mean? So sometimes I will just flip a coin, or if it is something where someone does have a degree of expertise, and I recognize that, I might go to them and be like, okay, I'm facing this situation, I really value your opinion. What would you do in this situation? And so, but I know when to do that. And it's not because I'm not confident in myself. It's because if you don't know what you don't know, like, if I don't know something, which this is probably something I shouldn't do. I think I do myself a disservice, but if I don't know something, I'm pretty good about admitting, gosh, I don't know. I'll try to figure it out, but I'm just like, you don't know what you don't know. Our minds have to make those split-second decisions, and we don't even realize we're making these decisions. We make way more of these types of decisions than we even realize. And so, if you see someone who is very self-confident, who appears to have it together, maybe they have, a confident presentation in themselves, they have a good appearance or whatnot, they, like, your biological mind looks at them and say, okay, they're healthy, they're toned, they're fit, they're in doctor's clothes, or I'm just saying doctor, but it could be whatever. They look like they know what they're doing. What do they think? They said that with confidence. I really don't know a lot about it. I'm going with it. Our minds, and to some extent we have to do that, because for us to know everything about everything, that's impossible. We're human, we're limited. And the downside of that, though, is the fact that there are people who may be self-confident, but they may be proclaiming their opinion, and their opinion could be right or wrong, but they're stating their opinion like fact. And if you take someone else who maybe doesn't have that same self-confidence, doesn't have that same authority, we'll say it like that, in the way that they speak, but maybe they really truly are more of an expert on the subject, which sometimes when you know a lot about something, it does give you, it does kind of empower you, and you kind of do tend to speak with more authority. But maybe they have other insecurities that kind of cancel that out, but they really know what they're talking about. People like that are not going to be listened to. If you're with a group of people and you're all sitting around, standing around, discussing something, someone can have an idea, a thought on what to do, a thought on how to fix something, an idea on how to make something better, or just someone has an idea. You could take that person, and someone might not listen, people might not be inclined to listen to them. But if you take someone who is, quote unquote, a natural born leader, who has that confidence, who has that self-assurance in what they speak, they could say the same thing that other person said, but people are going to buy it when they say it. They're going to discount it when the other person said it. Oh, you're cute. Oh, that's cute. But they're not going to listen to it. They're not going to take that seriously. But someone else could say, even if they say the exact same thing, you know what? That makes sense. Gosh, you're so smart. That sounds great. Yeah, we totally should do that. And I don't even know why I meant to bring all this up, but I've been thinking about a lot about that lately. And I have been more careful with what kind of hype I buy into. Like, I was listening to something the other day, and she was talking about an experience that she had. She's like, you know what, I stopped buying into the hype. I didn't buy into the hype. These people were telling me this, these people were telling me that, but I stopped buying into it. And in her specific situation, I don't mean to make this all about doctors, but with her, it's like a medical thing. Doctors were kind of telling her something. They were kind of giving her an option that she didn't really want to do. So she thought, you know what, I'm not going to buy on the hype. I'm going to go home. I'm just going to relax for a little bit. And anyway, long story short, things for her worked their way out. But I heard that phrase and I thought, don't buy into the hype. We've all heard that phrase before. It's not the first time I've heard it, but I thought, you know what, how much hype are we as a society? I sound so like podcasty. I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. How much hype, me as an individual person, am I buying into? And I'm just like, you know what? Some hype I'm just sick of buying into. The last thing I'll say, I'll kind of end it with this. I used to be a hairstylist. I don't do hair anymore, but I used to work as a hairstylist. And in the hair world, I haven't done hair for, gosh, it's been 10 years, I think. It's probably been 10 years at least since I've done hair. And probably right about at the 10-year mark almost. Anyway, a new product would come out, or a new, some new like technology or something would come out, and there was so much hype around it. There was so much hype. This is going to be the thing that just changes the game, that just changes people's lives as a hairstylist, changes people's lives as customers who come in and get their hair done. This product, this service, this, that, and there have been like several noteworthy developments that have made a big difference, but there always seemed to be, in hindsight, way more hype than there actually was substance to back it up. Okay, this new product comes out, it's great, you're not living your best life if you don't use this product. It kind of was the whole fear, the FOMO, fear of missing out kind of thing. And it's like, it's going so quick. Buy it now before it sells off the shelves. Buy it now while you can still get your hands on it, or whatever it was. There was so much of that, and maybe it was a significant financial investment for what it was or whatnot. So you're like, oh, do I do it? I don't want to miss out. That's a lot of money if it doesn't, but it seems to be good. Everyone loves it, all the celebrities or whoever, is endorsing it. And there was all this hype. And then after things kind of settled down, it was all right. It was good, but this is good too. Or it was good, but it's, you got this, you got that. It became common, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't this like one time, one hit wonder that you have to do then, or else you're gonna just die and not live your best life. You know, there was so much, it was an imbalance of hype and substance. Anyway, I'm kind of having fun doing these chats, so hopefully this is something that you enjoy hearing. I will end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. All right, adios until then.